Carnival has always faced like a rebellion attitude or spirit from time because we're just trying to have our freedom or to be able to celebrate.
So I'm here today with David.
What's going on?
David and I connected on Instagram after I was selected as the face of the festival. And one of the things that I'm seeing on your page is that you're obviously a serial entrepreneur. Of course, you have Crown Mass, which is a section.
Big up, big up.
So before you became like a section leader and before you were really into, like the carnival thing on the back end, how did you get introduced to it?
Shout out my mother. This is years of preparation, you could say. My mom used to make me sit down and watch VHS footage as a kid of like 80s steel pan orchestra parades. And then she would also bring me to the parade itself, and I would watch from the grandstands, like back then when they would pass through exhibition. And as a kid, I used to be scared of the Moko Jumbies, like they're on stilts, I'm tripping out, don't know what's going on. But like just watching the festival from a child before even getting into kiddies was just something so interesting to me. And I'm a child at this point, I'm like 5, 6, 7. And then from there, for whatever reason, my mom just sent me to Trinidad every summer. So I didn't experience Caravana till like fully, like with acknowledging it and remembering since I was 16. So I'm what you call a late bloomer because I was always in Trinidad every summer.
Likewise. So for me, my grandmother used to take me to Grenada every summer. Yeah. So every summer, the whole month of August, that was our time. Like that's when we go, we spend a month there. And that's where I started getting introduced to Spice Mass. So it was very much, as a child, like, I was scared too. The jab, how they're black and they're spraying the cans with the fire and stuff and it get hot and all these kinds of things. And you're just seeing people parade through the streets and it's a nice time. Yeah. Right? So it's like all that, like as a young child, it's like I didn't fully understand it, but I knew that it was like a cool experience because it was something so different than what we saw here. Right. So a lot of times I wouldn't even go to Caravana. Like a lot of times we would just be in Grenada. Exactly. Right? So I feel like personally, I think it's really important to be able to go back home. Right. Even though like you're born here, I think it's important to be able to reconnect in that way. And so for your mother and my grandmother to be intentional in that way, I feel like that kind of helped to shape almost like what we're doing now. Like the fact that you have a section and that you're always promoting carnival stuff and like I see on your Instagram that you teach people, about like, this is the Camboulet, stick fighting, like different conversations we've had. Like you've talked to me about different elements of Trinidad Carnival that I didn't even know existed. So what would you say to somebody maybe who is wants to experience the traditional side of Trinidad Carnival? Yeah. First off, it's an ecosystem. It's something that was not built overnight and took years, let's say over 100 years to get to where it's at today. And what it's created is like I said, an ecosystem, but an opportunity for people to have a sense of belonging and to be a part of something that's just bigger than jumping up as you would see or the average person would see from the outside looking in. The brief history that I could sum up, specifically coming from Trinidad and Tobago, it's about, at the time, the French was running Trinidad and Tobago. And what they did is they brought in a population, the cellular population from the French island-speaking countries, and wanted to populate Trinidad. Trinidad had no population. They brought over their traditions of their masquerade balls right before Lent. So that's where you have the Monday and Tuesday. And they would parade around and do all their things. But the African slaves, and this is specific for Africa, they were not allowed to be a part of that because there were still slaves on the island. But the French-speaking, there were black people as well, and white and mulatto and mixed, but they were free. So some were free, some were slaves. And that was the dynamic of Port of Spain or North Trinidad at that time. So the Africans now coming with their traditions that they've had for centuries and centuries, as we know, specifically, let's say West Africa, where the major or majority of the diaspora got transported over, they had their own processions in the parade as well. So it's not something that was just fresh out or new. Like this has been happening. So what they started to do, the Africans started to mock them. Mm-hmm. And do their own parades and their own styles. And that's how we get into the Camboulet riots and the burning of the sugarcane and them creating characters that are mocking
these French people. So
like
you have
the
Dame Lorraine, you have the Midnight Robber, and all these things that are just bashing and making fun of. You have the Jab Jab, which is bringing out the negative and trauma and madness that happened during slavery. Just again, bringing that up. And so Carnival has always faced like a rebellion attitude or spirit from time because we're just trying to have our freedom or to be able to celebrate. And then when emancipation happened in 1834 in Trinidad, which falls on August 1st, which is why Caravana is usually around August 1st because they chose that date here. Emancipation was like, okay, we're free up, we could do our thing. But then no, Trinidad wasn't having it. The Aristocats were saying, okay, we're going to ban your drums. We're going to ban this, ban that. And that's how Rhythm Section came out.
That, you know what's so funny? I'm getting tingles. Dr. Rita Cox, when I was talking to her at the media launch, she talked about how we used to send messages through the drums. That was a method of communication. And so when they took that away, that's
and that goes far as back to even like the Ashanti tribe in Ghana. They've been doing that. They communicate through the drum, war, sending signals, what's going on, what's happening. So it's just seeing how it started from home to what it is now.
And I feel like that's the element that we don't have here, unfortunately, obviously, because we're trying to like weave into the infrastructure that's already here, and like the land and the history here is not so rich and so deep as it is in Trinidad, Barbados, these different islands that have been having their carnival for so long, right? And so one of the things that I want to talk to you about, because I saw you posting on your Instagram, like there's something that you keep saying about like realming and enter the realm. Like what is that?
Shout out Chase, my boy, man. The whole ANF. We just went on vacation. We went to one of my boys' his bachelor in Dominican, and we just had this saying. We're like, yo, we're about to enter the realms, and it just became like a brand almost. Like we have it on T-shirts. Mm-hmm. My boy has it on a floor mat saying "Enter the realms," and it's just like when you look at the bigger picture of what a realm is, it's just a vibe. It's a space. It's otherworldly. It's like. And then we just came up with the word, yo, we're realming. Like, we're just in a vibe, we're in a mood. So it's just, everything's just about the realms.
That reminds me of that. That reminds me of that Disney movie. I forget what it's called, but it's like the man, he does jazz. And when he's playing the piano, like you see, he goes into like this spiritual place. Like he's in a different place. And that's what I feel like when I'm playing mass. Like real mass. Like when I'm on the road, Juve. Like, yo, I felt like I was in a dream. The first time I played Spice Mass, when I was going down the stretch, I'm like, yo, is this even real? Like, there's just the spirit of it and all the people and just everything about Carnival is so much deeper than just putting on a costume and going and playing mass. Even if you look at to get your costume, all the steps that it takes for you to even get that costume. And I'm sure you can speak to that as being a section leader, right?
No, definitely. It's like the process is like the best part, I feel like, but then like when you're on the road, there's alcohol flowing, there's all that stuff, but it's like, it takes over. The experience is like, it will sober you up because it's just so alive.
Yes, it is.
The music, the drums, the people, the atmosphere, the sun. It's just like, it's euphoria, like you know what I'm saying. Like that's what
the
realms
way how
is about.
You say like it's euphoric, but the way how I describe it, I'm like it's so cathartic. Like it's just And I feel like everyone in the diaspora, if they're interested in it, should experience Carnival back home, wherever their home is. Say if I was from like Trinidad, go to Trinidad and experience Carnival there. Guyana, go and experience whatever they have. I don't know if they have like a Junkanoo or something like that. I know Bahamas has a Junkanoo. I know Jamaica used to have a Junkanoo and now they have like a Carnival. I don't know if they still have that. But go home and experience it on your homeland with your family and with your people. It's totally different than like, okay, how would you compare like playing mass here or playing mass in Miami or anywhere in foreign compared to back home?
I gotta big up Caravana no matter what. I'm still gonna call it Caravana, I know. But it is the biggest and largest parade in North America, hands down, point blank, period. Like, and that in itself is crazy. And when you look at the history, I was just reading up on it the other day. Like, it came to Toronto in '67. And the years of development and budget issues and deficits and problems and seeing how the parade had to grow and then move from University to Lakeshore, like it's a beast. And it's not that easy to manage, I understand, but like it's up to us, like you and I are the future to just make it bigger and better. So I love the Lakeshore aspect of just being able to see the lake and the vibes, and you're on this big 8-lane road and trucks everywhere, you know. And then when I went to Miami, it was more enclosed, like you're around the stadium, you know. So it's just like you're holding your own vibes. But when you're on the lakeshore, you got people cheering you on, people are next to you, you got a guy selling food over there. Like it's just this whole experience.
Yeah, because it's a community thing, right?
Yeah.
One of the things that happened to me last year is I just felt like I fell in love with the city. Like just being there and just experiencing it, I was like, yo, like I just love being from Toronto. Like I'll actually rep it wherever I go.
No, it's a prideful thing.
Yeah, for sure. I love how we are just us. Like there's nobody else in the. Right. I mean, London. I mean, they kind of have a similar kind of vibe, but yeah. And I think one of the things that I really wanted to talk to you about is like the realming and the spirit of carnival and stuff, because again, I really want to highlight the fact that there's a deeper side to it, right?
I think I know where you're going.
What?
It's just like the true meaning and why it's so special. And like I said before, it's like this came from years of oppression and trauma and rebellion. And there's always been, even in Trinidad, there's a fight top, as we like to say. Like there's opposition to, we don't want this happening and and you know, these are a group of people that went through some stuff, you know, and this was their form of expression. These are people that listen to music every single day, dance almost every day, and how you're gonna oppress their way of expression? You know, like oppress it. Like why do that? You know, we need music. When you travel to like the South America and to the Caribbean, you're hearing music all over the place. Wherever you go.
Yo, it's the best feeling ever. You're just on the road, and they always have the biggest speakers.
But then you go to Young and Dundas and you see a guy drumming and people are looking at him like he's weird. Yeah. You know, but that's how it should be, like that in every corner.
I remember I used to watch this video on YouTube all the time. I still watch it. It's one of, I don't know exactly where it is, but it's one of those French speaking countries in Africa, and it's a tribe. And what he's saying, and they're just beating, and they just show you how everything in life is rhythm. Like the chopping of a tree, there's rhythm. The pounding, there's rhythm. Like everything in life, there's rhythm. And I think that is something where, like, up here, I would love to see. Honestly, I feel like in the Caribbean, like people are so much more open and alive. And here it's very much like individualistic and like every man for themselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's vibrations, right?
Yeah.
Like when you live in the city, they say your lifespan even shortens because of the sounds. Like take that in. You're not harmonious. So when you go back to the essence and you're hearing the drums and the certain frequencies of sounds.
Trust me.
It's like
even just being on the land there.
Yeah.
Like, yo, the vibes is a different heights. And I completely agree with you, because I was just saying to somebody the other day that one time I was talking to this girl about when I went to Grenada and just how I feel when I'm there. Like, it's just I just feel so alive, feel so different. She's like, oh, like maybe it's on one of the axes on Earth where the vibration is just higher. Like,
for sure.
Yo, I feel like when you go back home and you get to be in nature, like I see water, I see trees, I see animals, like just like that's just normal. You know what I mean? Like it just feels so much better.
See, you feel that way about Grenada. So I'm half Trini, half Ghanaian. I went to Ghana in 2021. Life changing. That was vibration. Like I've been going to Trinidad my whole life. And when you compare the two, you can't even.
Wow.
Like that's how crazy it is. So just
Ghana's on our bucket list, eh?
Ghana, there's not a day I don't think about Ghana.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible.
That was like the one.
And you know what's so funny? There's this channel that I would watch on YouTube. I don't remember what it's called, but it's basically about people who leave foreign and like go back to wherever they came from. And one of the ladies, her family's from Grenada, but she's like, yo, I couldn't actually. She went and moved to Ghana. She moved her whole family to Ghana, her kids and everything. She's like, I couldn't live in Grenada. She's like, maybe I could retire there, but Ghana, like, this is my home. Like, this is where. Because I guess they have like the aspect where it's like also a city, but you have the heights and I don't know. It's just on my bucket list.
It's just a different type of hospitality. You know, West Indians, as we know, we could be very our satire is if you can't handle it, you can't handle it. We see a person in a long time, hey, you get fat, boy. But them now is just like, and some people can take it, some people can't. But it's like, it's just, they go, but like in Ghana, it's Akwaba, welcome. So that's just like everywhere. Like, different type of hospitality.
You're selling me on Ghana right now. You're selling me on Ghana. Because it was already in my mind, and now I'm just like, okay, say less.
Flights are expensive right now.
I feel like that's what it always is, though. To go to these incredible places, it's not cheap to fly
25 for Christmas.
How much?
2,500. That's what I'm seeing now.
Yeah.
Yes. Rinsed.
So if somebody wants to go and experience Trinidad Carnival, because you know a lot about Trinidad Carnival, what are some of the things that they should do if they want to experience more of like the traditional side? Like, what are some of the events or something that they should go to?
Yeah, there's like the week prior, like you have Dimanche Gras, you have the stick fighting, you have like the real traditional mass where you could see the characters, and you have steel panorama, semis, pan semis, you have calypso fiesta, like that. I haven't done that. I haven't did that in a while actually, but calypso is just a vibe. Like you have the extempo, what do you call it? Battles. Like this is like freestyle battles. Like Voice did it. So cool. Voice did it this year.
Big up Voice. That's my favorite soca artist.
I forgot who won, but it's like extempo. Like that's a whole other realm. And that's one of the early aspects of calypso, of soca. Because that's what it was. They
were just freestyling. Yeah,
they were talking about politics.
But I feel like so much of Carnival, there's an aspect of that, like socio-political commentary. So, for example, in Grenada, I believe it's called Old Mass. Yeah. But it's like people who will come with their signs about whatever is going on, and like.
So you'll get that. You'll still get those aspects of it, But everybody, the Grand Parade is like the biggest thing. So it's like in Trinidad specifically, from Boxing Day to Ash Wednesday, there's just events.
Yeah.
Little things.
And that's the thing. Like Carnival is a season.
Yeah, it's a season.
It's not just one day. There's so like I believe Spice Mass, it starts like from June all the way up to
August, probably August, mid-August. Yeah.
And it's just, I remember my cousin saying one time, it would be okay if they could get rid of Christmas and give us 2 carnivals, because Carnival is the pinnacle of the year.
I heard, like, I haven't been to Grenada since 2002.
Oh, you've been?
Yeah, I've been. Yeah, nice. I've been. I got dengue out there though. So,
oh no! So
bite up mosquitoes.
Too bad.
Destroyed me, but it was a great time. Beautiful country. Sugar and spice ice cream is lit.
Yes, nutmeg ice cream.
Yeah. But like I heard, like they have juves everywhere.
Yeah, yo.
Yeah, like, there's different, like 20 different juves or something.
Yo, any time these guys get a chance to play jab, they're doing it. So there's the one main juve on the second Monday of August. And then they have another smaller juve, St. David's Juve. I don't know when it is. I think it's like the next day or something like that. But even by where we stay in Woban, like there used to just always be people liming, and then all of a sudden you just see somebody come with the oil and stuff, and they just start jabbing up themselves. Like anytime, it doesn't matter. Like they're just ready to play jab.
Oh, that's it.
It's so much fun, honestly. One of the things that I've been talking about a lot as the face of the festival is that Carnival is deeper than just putting on a costume and jumping up. And I know that you share the same sentiments, right?
Yeah. Like for me, it's again, like it's spiritual. It's my background. It's my history. Like it's not a joke. Like
no, it's not a joke.
There's people that lost lives over this and that have fought to get to Carnival to where it's at today. And just the history of it, like the whole oppression and rebellion, it wasn't easy. And these are coming from, let's quote unquote say African slaves or people that were captured that just tried to have a good time or express themselves as they did back home in their home continent, So when it came to Trinidad, it wasn't easy for them to do what they do because, again, like I was saying before, when the French populated Trinidad and was able to throw their masquerade balls, our people weren't. Mm-hmm. And they didn't have their celebration, so it became a style of mimicking and mocking them and creating their own vibes and making fun of these colonizers, as I would like to say, that took over what they were naturally born to do or what they've been doing. So for me, it's like when I see in the world that we're living in today, this is a social media world. Everybody wants to look good, everybody wants to look cool, everybody wants a photo opportunity, everybody wants to be photoshopped, this, that, whatever the third. It's like you'll look good in a costume, but it's like this is bigger than a costume.
Yes, it is.
This is not just about a costume.
It's not a photo op.
This is not.
It's not a photo op.
So if you think you're out here going to look good and take a picture and tell people, oh, post your picture, you should be posting it. It's not about a post.
Yeah. And I feel like sometimes you can tell who's just there for the pictures and who's really there to like play a mass.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like those are the ones you see on the road on their phone. They're looking kind of vexed and thing.
Yeah,
yo, come on, free up yourself. Like we're here to free up.
Yeah, it's not a battle to find the sickest photographer to make sure that you get a picture. Like it's not one of those. It's deeper than rap.
Yeah, and I feel like that's why it's important to have these conversations, because maybe sometimes people don't even know that.
Yeah.
Maybe sometimes people think, oh, like I thought I just put on a costume and
this is not dress up.
No, but also it's like you were saying earlier. It's like, yo, there's so much history behind this. People that fought and died and all these different things. And like one of the things that happened to me after being selected as the face of the festival and like doing more research, I actually had like a full-on cry section when I realized how much Carnival is this ecosystem where so many of us are connected, from like the artists to the people that build masks and make the costumes and the people that come and masquerade. And all of us are just so connected to this thing through like a love. And it's like, it just really hit me when I was like, this thing is so like, imprinted on so many of our lives, no matter where we're from in the Caribbean. It's like, this is like our thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like, it's just something that we're a part of. It's our identity, and it's something that we take very serious.
Yeah.
Again, like I said earlier, like it is an ecosystem that, people make a living off of them.
Yes.
That alone, like, you know what I'm saying? Like when pandemic hit, lockdown, a lot of people lost their livelihood just because of what Carnival brings to the country and to the city. So that was huge. A lot of vendors, a lot of, people that clean even. That's a whole other industry that,
holy smokes,
like it's that deep. So it's like, again, when you're at it's almost like a sweatshop vibe. It's like there's people behind the scenes that are putting in the work, putting in the sweat equity, but then there's like people that are losing the value of it and just saying, okay, let me wear this sexy costume and go about my business. Nah. Like we're not having that.
Yeah. And I feel like that's why it's important to have these conversations, so we can actually acknowledge that. You know what I mean? Because again, I do want to have grace for people who maybe don't know that and know all that goes into it. Because there was a time when people would come into mass camps and volunteer, and it was like everybody coming together to make the mass. And now, well, I don't know what it's like now, but like the sentiments that I'm hearing is that that's not so much a thing anymore. Like you don't necessarily have people coming in to help make masks. Like what would you say?
Yeah, like again, now you're dealing with, for example, like China. So a lot of the bands, just because of mass production, you're dealing with big
you have to
numbers.
do that scale.
It's a business now. It's full-fledged business now. It's not like traditional and old mass where it was just out of creativity and everybody just had their own style, their own vibe. So because it's a numbers game, majority of mass building, which is a part of, like this is science. Like you're using your hands to touch and build something that's spiritual. So it's like when you're a part of the mass camp, that makes it special. You're building it. But again, like we're living in a different time. So it has to be sent off to Miami sometimes, or feathers are coming from here. Stuff's coming from China. So again, we're living in a different time, but it's like the mass camp of coming together and building that's a part of the whole experience.
Yeah.
You're there, vibes, soup is cooking.
Yeah. It's always like a family thing and a love thing. Like at every aspect. I mean, obviously there's still like the political side and bacchanal side and thing, but like for the most part, like it's a love thing when people are coming together to make the mass and play mass and everything. It's out of a love, because sometimes, from what I'm hearing, sometimes people don't even, like if they don't do it right, they could end up not making money with their sections and all that stuff.
I've seen it. Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah, it's not a joke.
Yeah, that's crazy to me, to think about how much work that it takes to do that and then to end up in the negatives. But I feel like those people still come back.
Yeah.
Right?
Because you have so much love for it.
Yeah.
And there's the king and queens. Like that's a whole other realm.
This year is gonna be my first year going to King and Queen.
It's a vibe though. that and Pan, those two.
I
glorious.
Love Pan. When I used to be in town in Grenada, sometimes I would just stand up outside so I could listen to the whoever that school or whatever it is play Pan, and I was just so captivated by it. Like the sound is so sweet. It's so mellifluous.
Yeah, no, like brief history lesson that came out of the 40s or 30s, around 40s, like right around World War II. When the U.S. came to Trinidad and they left their oil drums. So it's just like, at that time, they need to figure out like just different ways to make music and make vibes. And then they carved out the drums. And then, you started tuning it. And then that's how you were able to get the sound. So
we are such incredible people.
Yeah, it's like you take something out of nothing.
Exactly.
And that's what it's been.
And that's how you, like, bottle and spoon, like, anything is our vibes.
Yeah,
like, yo, we can do anything with anything. Even when you look at our food, like, it's actually so deep. Even when you look at our food, like oxtail and cold foot and all that stuff, that was like things that they were throwing. That was the garbage. Like, oh, you guys eat that. We take it and we make it into delicacies.
Yeah, definitely. That's why it's a special place.
Yo, I just feel so proud to be from the Caribbean because, like, and just to be Black, honestly, because I feel like so much of what we have is things that people try to, like, take away from us or keep from us. Even like our carnival. Yeah. That wasn't supposed to be for us.
No, for sure.
But we took it and we made it into something better than they could ever imagine. Better than what they had. Anything like that. Well, you know what I mean?
You could say history repeats itself because that's been happening from the test of time. Where we make things look good, and that's just...
Yo, if you want to make something cool... Give it to like one of the Black youths or they're just gonna they're gonna make it so cool.
Yeah, we know who runs the culture. So.
Yeah, 100%. It is us. And I feel like it's important for us to know that and to be empowered by that, right? So I don't know. I just think, again, like we were saying, Carnival is more than a photo op. There's so much behind it. So when it comes to like the building mass side of it and being a section leader, maybe there's someone out there who wants to come up, they want to be a section leader, they don't know what to do. Like, I've been asking a lot of people who are section leaders this question: what advice would you give to them, if any? Like, I know your focus is branding and marketing, so maybe in that capacity, but
it's like, it's like, if you know, like, again, educate yourself. That's the best thing. Like, first things first, like, know what you're getting yourself into. Ask people questions, learn, read about it. All the information's out there. And then, if you're talented and you feel like you want to get into the design, like, by any means, like, reach out to people that you see or that aspire to be, or even just drop in. There's a lot of people I've seen just pull up to the camp and be like,
and that's what I've been hearing. It's like, yo, you study under somebody. Like, you start as a volunteer, like, understand what mass is. One somebody that I was interviewing at the Saldina Mass Camp, Anton, he was saying, like, yo, anybody can glue beads onto a bra, jewels onto a bra. He's like, that's not mass. That's not making mass. You know what I mean? Like, yo, come and learn the thing. Come and learn how to do it. No,
for sure. Like, for example, like Casey, who's one of the co-founders of Crown Mass, when I was with Venom 2018, like, she just pulled up on the camp. She's like, yo, I want to be involved some way, somehow, like, or just learn how to, and she's a designer, she's a florist, like, she knows. And then look now.
Yeah, yo,
she has her own thing going on.
But that's the thing, though, is that I feel like around our whole carnival and different aspects of it, is it almost feels like, I feel like there's this notion of people not understanding how to get on the inside, even if it's just like playing mass. It's like, well, I don't know how to do it. Like, there's actually no like gatekeepers.
No.
And but the thing that kind of sucks is that it feels like a if you know kind of thing. Like, if you know where to go to get a costume to play mass, then you figure it out, right? But in terms of actually becoming like a section leader or learning more about that, like you're saying, like, yo, just pull up on the mass camp. Pull up. Yeah. And like I said, it's a love thing. Like, for the most part, you're going to be welcome and embraced. Like, people want to show you what they do.
Yeah. Just come with open arms, open heart. Don't come on some like... I've seen it. Like, I've seen people like full on say, oh, can I customize this? Can I change this? Can I do that? The design's done made. Like... Yeah, you could get maybe a 1-2 alter this, that, but it's like, don't try and change the whole costume. Like that. And then it's almost like a disrespect to the designer.
It's a disrespect thing.
Like me last year, I know myself. I lose my phone. I get goofy. I get wild. So I asked Casey if she could just add a pocket for me. And she did the sickest pocket. I could send you a picture of it, but I just asked for another pocket. Yeah. And it was lit.
Yeah, but you're not asking to alter like the entire creative look of the costume.
No, it was a great costume.
No, what would you say to... So I saw, like, you're talking about last year. I saw videos of you and like your friends. You guys are all playing mass. Like, what would you say to somebody maybe who wants to play mass as a man?
Right.
Yeah. But they don't know how and they don't know if it's for them.
Yeah, I tell my boys all the time, I'm like, you just got to experience it. Like, because a lot of the mandem back in the day would just storm. But I'm like, guys, like, just pay the money, enjoy yourself, drink what you want to drink, unlimited bumper, do whatever you want. And you're not. Yo,
it's literally unlimited. And Carnival is woman, right?
Yeah, so, you're not getting braced for just trying to pull up on there. Like, be a part of it. Like, enjoy yourself, hydrate, eat food, you know, be respectful, obviously,
of course,
and you'll have a good time, and it's not that expensive. It's not even expensive.
Yeah,
for the money that you're paying.
This year, yo, the price went up this year. Don't even front about that.
For the man, them, there's no excuse. Yeah, like $3 bills, bro. Like $3.50. Like, come on, like we spend that in the club, like so.
Oh, on bottles?
Yeah, well.
Yo, I don't know, whatever.
But you know, the men have to spend.
Yeah, so. Of course, of course. You know how it goes. But yeah. So, what about for somebody who thinks that like men should not be playing mass? Like that's for women.
No, like that. Like we know the staple quote is "Carnival is woman." Yes, and it's for women to express themselves and be free. Like that's what it's turned into now. But it's like I tell like a lot of my West African friends, I'm like, yo, this is yours too.
Yeah.
You know, don't feel like, yo, I can't be a part of it. You know, I'm not West Indian. No, like if it wasn't for that diaspora, for us coming from that diaspora, This would not be happening. So it's like, you know, take charge. Like it's yours. Be a part of it. Jump up.
Yeah, that's what I think too. I'm just gonna adjust my mic a little bit because I'm so self-conscious about the microphone. Like I just feel like nobody can hear me.
No, we're good. I'm telling you. I know I'm picked up. Trust. This voice travels. Yo. We are good.
Yo, but yeah, I remember that was one of the things that we were talking about before when you were saying like some people from West Africa or whatever feel like they cannot participate in Carnival. Another thing too is sometimes people will like rep a flag that's not theirs. Like, yo, come and be yourself. That's how I've
seen that a lot.
Come and be who you are. Yo, if you're Indian, rep your Indian flag hard. Like, come and be who you are.
I don't know where that comes from. It baffles me.
You know what it is? Because again, I feel like it's this thing where people feel like Carnival is just for a certain group of people and it's just their thing. And if you want to participate, you have to act like you're one of us or whatever. But it's like, yo, no, come.
Let me tell you something. When I was in Trinidad, 2019, I went to Brainwash.
Okay.
I seen 2 girls with an Australian flag.
That's incredible.
How I go up to them, I'm like, yo, how long did it take you to get here? She said 39 hours. Jesus. I met 2 guys from Tel Aviv on the avenue. Israel's in the building. The next guy from Russia. Like, you know what I'm saying? They're out here repping.
That's the thing. Like, yo, Carnival actually welcomes people to it. You don't have to pretend to be somebody that you're not.
No, the whole, like, especially if you go to Brainwash in Trinidad, that's where you'll see the whole world.
Okay.
And you'll see,
that like the biggest fete in Trinidad?
That's the biggest, like what Private Ryan has done with this festival vibe. Like he changed the game. Like, so like, you know, everybody.
So tell me about that. I don't even really know. I've heard about it, but I don't know exactly
what
it is.
DJ Private Ryan started off with soca, like soca mixes.
Yeah, I remember those mixes. I remember the mixes on YouTube.
That actually, YouTube and SoundCloud. Like SoundCloud is where he reigns. And he did the press play mix. He did the post carnival, pre carnival, soca brainwash. But it just started off with those mixes, and then he turned it into a festival.
Wow!
And he, UK, Miami, Toronto, New York, Trinidad, I believe Barbados, Jamaica. So he just took it all over the place. But he created that almost like an EDM festival style, but for soca.
So what? Artists come and perform?
No, that's the difference. He wants to highlight the DJs. Which is different. You know, it's very rare, extremely rare to see that happen.
So what's he doing? Highlighting the local DJs for every festival?
Well, it's local and you're getting overseas DJs. For example, like Soca Prince, Dr. J. Okay. He's played there many times. You got guys from New York over there. But it's like, again, you're getting the food, the premium drinks, the what do you call it? The photo opportunities. So like you have like displays there and live games. You could play chess and there's so many things you could do.
It sounds nice.
It's a festival.
It sounds like they really put thought.
Production is
into that.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Never seen.
So when does that usually happen? Like if I'm in Trinidad, when can I expect to go to Soca Brainwash?
Carnival's Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's coming to Toronto July 15th.
Okay. You gonna be there?
No. I will be in St. Lucia.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know?
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, honestly, I just feel like, again, like we're saying from the beginning, like Carnival is not just a photo op.
No.
Come to Carnival, come play mass and be yourself.
Yeah, that's it.
Like,
that's it.
You don't, it's like, it's not a try thing. Like, you don't have to try. You don't have to try to look pretty. Yeah. You don't have to try and be somebody who you're not. Yo, just come and free up yourself.
That's it.
Just come and free up yourself. Like, that is lit. Like, if there was a mantra for Carnival is yo, just come and free up.
Yeah. And it's like, again, you know, the culture is different over here, but it's like when I'm in Trinidad and I see it, like women, all shapes, sizes, and colors are able to flex and be free for whatever they're wearing.
Yeah.
And have fun and not be harassed.
Yeah.
You know, so that's another aspect too, because I've seen men in different, you know, get out of hand or get out of order, like, you know, but it's like that respect has to, that's part of the education.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
for
like
sure.
that's another aspect of it too. Like,
I feel like part of the education too has to do with the stormers, because when I first, you know, participated in Caravan or whatever, like I thought that was just part of it. Like I just thought that's just what you do.
Yeah, and it's different. Like it's a double-edged sword with Toronto, because we're so diverse. You know, it's like Stormers are part of the identity of Caravana. Like I can't even say unfortunately, but that's
like, realistically
that's just what it is. Like you're not gonna
like
run
I
away
know
from
people
it.
get upset about it, and I understand that, but it's kind of like
you can't
look at how the place is set up. Like what?
You can't do anything. You could buy them 16-foot fences. It's gonna get hopped. It's gonna get broken. The only thing,
it's sad for people who wish it was another way, but it's kind of like, okay, if you don't want that, you know, it's like, okay, what's your solution? Like, what do you think can be done? Because one thing that people do that I personally don't like, and I call it a loser attitude, is they have all their complaints and they have all their problems, but they have no solutions. Right. So it's kind of like, if you're not coming with solutions, then just be quiet. If you're not going to collaborate with the people who can make a decision and make a difference, then just don't say anything.
And I think, like, on a logistical level, you know, Caravana brings in a huge ROI to the province and to the country. Million. Yeah. And it's like, what we could ask for is just invest more money, because if you're able to invest money, like I heard for a band, like to hire security for the day is like 15 racks. So imagine if we had the money to invest into actual in-band security and rope security. It's a game changer. Because that's how it is back home.
The security is not... Okay, when you're talking about security, what, for the entire carnival, or
I'm
just
talking
per
like
band?
per band that could take money to invest, because it is a big.
Okay, so explain to me what you're talking about. Like, what would that look like?
So, like in Trinidad, you have side rope security. That
I saw that in Grenada too.
Yeah, so it's like they're going with the trucks, but they keep the rope tight. It's literally like per truck 20 people. Wow. So they're going along, working. Then you have in-band security. Those guys have on like bulletproof vests, like they're just make sure that you have your band on. If you don't have your band, you're out. So it's like, if you're able to invest and put money into it, it will change the experience.
One of the things that I was talking about too, I went on another podcast. I don't know if it'll ever be released, but one of the things that they were talking about is like seeing some more of that, you know, money that comes into the city flowing back into our community. Yeah. And so for me, I'm just like, well, what would that even look like? Like, how would that work? I don't know if you've ever thought about that.
I think the biggest part, and I've talked to some people as well, and I think it's two things. The education it should go back into, and it should go back into showcasing the art. Because the art form is like one of the biggest parts of Carnival.
I was talking to Hayden from Lavway.
Shout out Hayden. Pumpkin.
He was saying, he's like, yo, he's like, you know what happens with our king and queen costumes when we're done? He's like, it goes in the garbage.
Yeah, that's not
right. What?
That's not right.
He's like, yo, it should be in museums, like the ROM. And I'm like,
I know the ROM did one.
I was just recently baffled that he said it goes in the garbage.
Yeah. The ROM did one from Notting Hill, I believe. Yeah, it should still be there. What? But just
they
one.
Need to come from here. Yeah, we're right here.
It's sad, and I believe like the education part is big with the art form, because like there's talent here. There's pan talent. There's calypso talent. There's soca talent here. Invest into that. You know, even in Trinidad too. I could say a lot of people have complained in Trinidad that they're not investing into the youth.
And like local.
Yeah, have like a soca school, calypso school.
Oh my gosh, that would be
like
so
all those
cool.
things. Like that's how you push. You know,
culture.
The culture, the genre. Forward. You know, you invest in them from young, because like a lot of these guys, like Second Star, Voice, Preety, those guys like went to school for music.
Where?
Like I think let me get this straight. I believe Preety, one of those guys have a degree. I believe it's Urfin Elves. That's it. Okay. He has a background in like education of music. That's the whole new generation of soca. So it's like those guys got a bit of that. Voice was doing competitions.
Yo,
Preety was doing
Voice
competitions.
is my favorite soca artist of all time. Yo, Voice music, I swear it's gospel.
Yeah,
I get tingles when I sing his music. When I sing Cheers to Life, I'm not even kidding. My body starts tingling.
He has a formula, and it works.
He does have a formula, and I noticed that too when I was listening to what's that song? Pandemonium. Yeah. And then I was listening to My Stage Now. I'm like, oh, like I hear what they're doing here. Like they make a song that builds. And builds and builds and builds. So there's like a climax.
Right.
And that's like the jump up, whatever exciting part, and then you do it again.
And he brings in the rhythm section. He'll bring in the old, soca. You know, the brass, the iron.
Yeah.
All that stuff is like what my mom could relate to, because back then it was just trumpets and horns, and it wasn't. You see what Bungie did. Bungie brought that EDM style to soca, that differentology, which is cool. Like I loved it. Collabing with Major Lazer and all that stuff. All that stuff is gonna enhance. But when you bring it back to the essence, it's like you can't run away from that.
Yeah, and that's the one thing that I think too about like the importance of understanding the roots and almost like reaching back to them for like that stability and almost like that place to go back to, because my main thing is like I don't want us to lose our culture. You know what I mean? Like, and especially in like the fact that we're here in the diaspora, like it's not hard to lose like where you came from. Like you're not even on the same land. Like the culture here is completely different. Like you have to be intentional about everything you're doing here, so you make sure to preserve that. I would love to see like a section or just implemented here somehow. Because you said we have local talent here, just seeing different elements of traditional carnival characters here in Toronto. Like how cool would it be if you're on the lakeshore and you saw a Moko Jambi? Yeah,
and it's like, that needs to come back. Like I was just saying, I think I text you and I'm like, yo, we got to bring it back to the essence. Yeah. That was like the quote I used. Yeah. I don't know. That was just going through my head. Though. But it's like, like I think it's them times.
Yo, I feel like I feel like it's a resonance. Like, you know, you're talking about earlier, like a vibration. Like I feel like it's a resonance now where a lot of us feel that. And so there's people like myself, like you, like other people who are just coming up and saying like, yo, like it's time for us to do something different and to go back to like what it should really look like in terms of not only like the level that we should be on here, but also making sure that we connect to the roots. So even when I was talking to Hayden, he was like, like even in my Lavway logo, I have the sticks for like stick fighting.
Yep. And I think, he definitely knows that, because even when I remember he was designing, and Peter Minshaw, which is one of the GOATs for design out of Trinidad, I think in the late 80s, he did a whole, either the whole banner, the whole section was butterflies.
That's incredible.
But it looked, on the road, it looked crazy. And Hayden was telling me about that. I was like, yo. Like, again, the art form.
Yeah.
And it should live somewhere, because at the end of the day, we could go to all these parties. Those are just experiences. But what tangible things are you leaving on this planet for the kids and the kids and the kids? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we could party and drink all we want, but that doesn't mean
exactly.
that much.
And when he was talking about like, you know, these things like the king and queen stuff should be in the ROM, I was thinking about when I went to the ROM a couple years ago, they had this whole entire section on Indigenous people and like Indigenous history, and they had like artifacts and clothing and boots and different stuff like that, just showcasing it. And like maybe, you know, some people might not see the value in that, but like as an Indigenous person, I'm sure when you go there, you feel like, wow, even being someone who's not Indigenous, but I feel connected to, you know, them in a way. For sure. I'm looking at their artifacts and I'm like, this is incredible. Oh, this is from the 1700s. Like, wow, look at the way that they use the furs and stuff. So imagine that in our context now, like, oh my gosh, look at the way, imagine how they had to engineer this or design this. And
back
like,
then,
there's science behind these big costumes, right? With King and Queen. Yeah. So I think I would like to see our things housed somewhere. I feel like the important thing is that whatever we do, we are being intentional about the fact that the generations to come need to understand what's going in.
That's it. That's the bar.
Yeah.
You just said it. That's what's going in. That's like the bar.
That's literally it. Yeah. Because if we do not do that, then it gets lost. So for instance, like I don't even think my parents, I'm second generation Canadian.
Right.
So I don't even think my parents have like a full understanding of carnival and the roots and the history and all these different things, right? So that was something that I had to take on my own to kind of reconnect and almost reclaim that for myself.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, I do. And that's why I'm talking about, preserving our culture. I don't want it to get lost, because I understand that it's not hard to lose.
Oh, definitely.
It's not hard to lose, And the fact that in terms of like the education aspect, like if we're not intentional about passing traditions and education and information on, then it literally will just get lost.
Yeah. There's a lot of cultures that are holding on to their life.
Yeah, and that's where you see languages and things like that get lost. Like, for example, I know one girl that I know from Dominica, and the same thing happened with Grenada. Like, Grenada had a Creole.
Trinidad too.
Yeah, but they use it as a secret language against the kids and different. And it's just like, yo, okay, like 2 people speak the language now, and they're how old?
The patois is dying in Trinidad. It's there.
Yeah, it's like a French, right?
Yeah, it's a French patois, but like a pocket speak it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, and it's just kind of like, yo, that is part of history. That's part of who we are.
Yeah.
And it just withers away, yo.
Yeah, again, you can't preserve. It's up to even I was just talking to I think I was at my barber last week, and we're just talking about like even the cooking is losing.
It's withering away.
What?
Okay. Compared to then and now, what's the difference?
First off, it's like you have these big American companies that are just slamming the country. Like Popeyes just came the other day.
In Trinidad,
even in Trinidad, you got Popeyes that are here. Starbucks is here.
In Trinidad,
Church's Chicken, TGI, like you name it, it's there. Like Trinidad is just rinsed with fast food.
Yo, I heard someone say Trinidad is the New York of the Caribbean.
Ben, come on, babes. Yeah, as long as they're Trinidad, bring it in. But like, I feel like again, like grandma's not teaching her granddaughter or her grandson certain things, and like we're losing that those special touches in the dal or like whatever it may be. Like, you know, we need those things have to get passed down because food is one of the biggest things that preserve culture that is a part of culture. So that's another thing too. And you know, food, carnival, music, all that stuff again is a part of the ecosystem. So it's an interesting time.
Bro, I didn't know you guys had all that, don't they?
Yo, what? Everything. TGI Fridays was there for like 20 years.
Grenada has Subway.
There's a Subway everywhere.
They just got Pizza Hut and KFC. Royal Castle is gone, which hurt me, but whatever. Like
Trinidad has like one of the biggest Pizza Huts in the world.
What?
Yeah.
Why?
In St. James, yeah.
Why though?
It's huge.
But why?
I don't know. I don't. In Roxy,
Small Island and the biggest Pizza Hut.
KFC's pumping all times, like.
No, but then the sad part of that too is then you'll probably start to see like an increase in different health issues too. Oh, because the food that's readily available for people is not home food that somebody on the roadside's cooking. It's whatever the hell they're pumping out of these deep fried.
Yep. And I'm a victim of the KFC. I'm not gonna lie to you, but
it tastes damn good.
Like. But the Church's Chicken and all that other Popeye. When am I going to Trinidad to eat Popeyes?
Yeah. Like, I know people specifically go to the Caribbean. They're like, yo, Jamaican KFC. Yo, Trinidad KFC. Yo, Grenada KFC. Like, KFC is the thing.
Oh, for sure.
But I don't know, yo. I just think it's important for us to acknowledge, like, the real, you know?
The real point. And again, it's like Carnival's been here for over 40 years. And I think
in Toronto?
In Toronto,
This is our 56th year.
Yeah. So yeah, look at that, 50 years. So now it's like there's always a shift, and it's like post-pandemic, something needs to happen. And it's like I think, you know, last year there was not a lot of hiccups, but it was just like finding the new groove because you know you had 2 years off.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, was it 2 years off?
I think it was.
Yeah, it was 2 years off. 20 and 21. So it's like, let's now massage things into an actual program and get something popping. So
you mentioned earlier that we have the biggest carnival in North America.
Yeah.
And now you're talking about getting something popping. Like, if it were to get to the level that you think it should be at, like, what would that look like?
Wow, that's a deep. Well, no, I know that's a great question, but it's like, I think a part of it is the funds, you know, because this is, again, when you scale it back, you're running a business here.
Yeah.
But again, it's the education that would probably allow the investment to come in once people understand what this is about more, that they know that, like, okay, you know, we could put more time and more money and more love into it because we understand the reason why.
So then where would the education be? Like, do you mean like putting it in schools?
Like just like incubating the talent in schools and letting them know like this is art. Put it in the curriculum.
You said incubating, and in my mind I just heard carnival incubator.
Yeah, like
so it's like the young talented people who want to be a part of the ecosystem. They come together. People learn how to design. There's mentors and stuff that teach them how to make real masks.
Exactly.
There's people where you get to learn how to play pan like the different sections of the culture, even food, like all the things that we're talking about, the elements of culture that we need to make sure we preserve here. Obviously we have to be intentional about it in a different way here. But yeah, imagine if there was a carnival incubator.
That's what I'm saying. I slap myself in the face all the time because I don't know how to play pan. And that's something I will have to pick up very soon because
it's never too late to learn.
You just have to, like, it's a beautiful instrument, like, you know.
It's just like the way it's just sweet. Like the sound is just sweet, and it's just a niceness.
I know it was in a lot of schools. Like I believe in the East, like it was like, you know, you can learn pan in some schools, which is sick. That's cool, but I need it.
Yeah.
You know?
No, but all I'm thinking about is carnival incubator. If anyone can, you know, sometimes it's easy to have like ideas, but then it's kind of like, okay, well, how do we execute on that? Like, what is the next actionable step? Like, we need to come together and form like a young people carnival collective of those of us who recognize that, we need to preserve this up here.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So,
for sure. I know.
I would love to see that.
I spoke to a few people and it's been buzzing. So it's just literally
I'm on that. Together. Let me know. Because honestly, like, it's time.
Yeah.
Like, the resonance, like, it's just time. Yeah. It's time to do all the things. It's time to preserve the culture. It's time to promote the culture. It's time to get back to the roots. It's time for all of that.
For sure.
Yeah.
I agree.
So where can people find you?
I'm rolling with I got my Carnival Sport shirt, you know, Crown Mass TO with the Revelers. We're going to be on the road August 5th. Yes. Whatever the case may be. That just rhymed, but
I like you're dropping bars.
But yeah, we're outside.
Thank you, David. Thank you for your time. Thank you. Thank you for being my first guest. Let me tell you, we had technical difficulties. I don't even think our camera's recording anymore. Like,
you're lying.
We're just out here on audio. Like, I don't even know what's going on anymore.
This is the part
but
2.
It's just a vibe. Thank you so much for your time and for your patience.